Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at the Korean server since the new patch hit 7.23 a couple of days ago. Every day I've been looking through their stats, polite way of saying I've been stalking them to find out what is strong, what is kind of overpowered, but also actually some other stuff that you just wouldn't really think is that good, but since the new patch hit is actually really strong. So it gives us a few ideas of different stuff we want to play and have some fun with in the preseason. I'm also going to show you ban rates on screen right now. It's really cool to look at this normally because these are the champions that Koreans hate playing against. So the ones that are really strong, a bit too overpowered maybe, or just really irritating, and ones that can solo carry. So if that's your thing, then these are really good champions to look at. But we're going to start with the mid lane with Zoe actually. But before that, if you want to just see the champions, then they're going to be in the description, and somebody always copy paste them into the comments as well. So let's talk about Zoe then. She's not like OP just yet. Actually, if you look at her overall win rate, it's pretty much last in the mid lane. But if that was the whole story, obviously I wouldn't be talking about her right now. If we take a closer look, her good builds have close to a 60% win rate. So these are the builds you're supposed to be running on Zoe, the ones that actually work, right? And that is what kind of matters, because that is a normal standard win rate for like a top 5 or a top 10 champion in any role, right? Her skill order is a really good example as well. So if you take the correct skill order, like the one you're supposed to take, almost 60% of players are doing that at the moment in Korea. That actually, like that order has a 57% win rate. So obviously if you play her correctly and you kind of know what you're doing, you're actually going to be winning a lot of games with Zoe. A lot of her builds are wrong. Her skill orders are wrong. Bad players are playing her obviously because she's a new champion and very fun. Those are dragging the win rate down, but actually the good ones are really turning on at the moment. It really shows though, late game, right? Past 40 minutes into a game where you'd think only the really good ones actually last until she wins 55% of games, and that's putting her in the top 10 out of all mid laners. She can legit one-shot people late game with her Q. It's kind of ridiculous. She's insane team fights anyway, I think. Like her sleep can be really, really impactful. Arcane Comet seems to be the way to go for the rune choice, and it makes sense with her poke system, right? I've seen Zoe one-shot people with her Q. I've seen her sleep the enemy AD carry from like miles away late game, and there's nothing they can do because they haven't bought QSS because they don't realize how dangerous it is yet. Her sleep is an insane part of her kit. I think like the rest of it's really cool, but her sleep is probably the part that's going to get nerfed. It is so strong. Long range snipes though are huge, right? Plus even her summoner spell, item stealing and stuff. It feels so bad to play against right now. They are really impactful, and there's so much RNG element to it as well. So she isn't busted right now, but it's actually looking pretty good if you look a bit deeper. So moving on to the first legit pick of this video, Ornn is kind of now just the overlord of top lane. Like Korea has embraced him as the king of the top lane, the most popular pick, and I'm pretty sure if you talk to any higher player, and I think this as well, the most busted champion in the game at the moment is probably Ornn. But he doesn't actually have like this obvious way of showing it. Like he's a tank, right? He doesn't one-shot you. He doesn't like have a massive impact in team fights that's very noticeable. It's very subtle, and that's why you don't think he's that bad, but actually he's just really strong. It's a relatively damage heavy build. I spawn Abyssal Mask. He pumps out way more damage than you're probably going to expect from a full tank. The rest at the moment as well is bruisers and like AD champions, mostly top lane, and Ornn can block a lot of their damage but return the trades as well because they tend to be melee, which is really good for him. It's super easy to play Ornn and still be effective, which is really cool. So it's really not that hard to do your damage in this current state, which means, well, you just basically like flame breath people and they start to die. Your ultimate though is really going to engage, and it's a really good team fighting tool as well. It can split the team, it can like stun multiple people, knock them up and stuff. You can really mess with people in team fights, especially in AD carry, and it's such a low cooldown as well. I honestly think it's a pretty dumb champion, and apparently Korea agrees as well. Moving on to AD carries, as you've already seen, Ezreal has an 87% ban rate right now, which is absolutely ridiculous. He hasn't been nerfed by Riot, so the answer really is just to ban him for now. He's way too strong. But that actually kind of opens up room for other people. So Ashe, for example, is the Annie of AD carry. Very easy, but actually apparently back in Korea right now, and a really good mid-game AD carry. So remember we had tower changes this patch, right? They give it a bit more health and stuff. It slows down the game a tiny bit. So we have shifted our focus from really early game to mid game, and that is exactly where Ashe wants to be, and that is actually kind of like an indirect buff for her. You have press attack synergy with your Q. They kind of proc at the very similar time, so actually you're going to have a big boost of damage there, and it helps a lack of damage that you can sometimes have as an Ashe player. There are three really different builds though. So first of all, Essence Reaver. It's obviously the normal one, the cooldown focused one. You're just spamming arrows out like all the time. You're kind of an arrow machine. The other one is more damage focused. So you skip the Essence Reaver and you go for Infinity Edge instead and triple crit. More kind of like a Tristana or a Twitch. It's very damage heavy basically. You're trying to just kill stuff. The other one is more of a duelist base. So it's kind of utility. Blade, Runins, and then Phantom Dancer. Now this is really attack speed based. It's really good though, like with runes, because the healing on all 3 bolts, you have the percentage damage on all 3 bolts as well. It's very good 1v1, and it's more like of a duelist kind of thing. If somebody is diving onto you, you'll do a lot better with that build. The kite is obviously really good as well with your passive, a decent answer to people right now trying to constantly ram you as an AD carry. You're also good versus other ADs like Vayne, for example, but Kalista especially. The slow kiting, the arrows is way too much. It's a really good Kalista counter, apparently. Shyvana is kind of like the low elo, freelo god right now. She is so good below plat, especially. She's like decent above and stuff, but just below that, she is a machine. It's ridiculous. She's also getting very popular in Korea at the moment, which is kind of strange because even when she was good before, she wasn't that popular. Basically, you're kind of a meta counter. You beat like Lee Sin, Jarvan, which is a surprise, Kha'Zix as well. The perfect mix of tanky, but loads of damage, which is really good against carry matchups because they can't kill you, but you can kill them. But also it's ideal for solo queue, right? And lower ranks especially. Everybody makes mistakes, but like you don't die for them and lose the game with Shyvana, which is really, really important. It means you win more even while you're learning the champion. I looked at some gold graphs as well, which I don't normally do, but like I just wanted to kind of see it. She earns way more gold in the first 20 minutes of a game compared to like every other jungler, basically. That's where she gets her lead. Like she's able to farm so well, full clear jungle, and then still gank afterwards. That's kind of what makes her a beast. Actually, think of it like what Kleptomancy does, right? That kind of gives you gold so you're stronger into the game mid-game. That's exactly what Shyvana's ability to farm is doing for her. It's kind of the same thing. Also, pressy attack is so perfect for her, especially with Frozen Mallet's second item. They cannot get away and you're just churning out damage. The other mid laner in the video is going to be Diana, who jumped up into the top 10 actually so far. And this is partly because she's a really, really good Zoe counter right now. So if you're sick of Zoe players, just play Diana. Loads of different route choices, which are cool, but Phase Rush, actually, the first time I've seen Phase Rush that popular, I think, honestly, it's like the most popular rune choice on a champion. You play her kind of like a burst roamer with that setup, like celerity, even water walking as well in Korea, which is weird, but I guess it works if you just kind of want to kill your opponent and then roam around the map. Electrocute is more standard, I think, also really good for burst and very good in Korea. Like even Aerie though is decent, which I guess is a bit more of a poke style with your Q and stuff. Now, it's not just Zoe that she beats, obviously, otherwise she wouldn't be in the video. Normal mages, she's really good against. Malzahar even, because she can get rid of his shield, like with her Q, and then kind of like wait for another rotation and then just go in. Orianna, same thing, and even assassins. Zed has a 46% win rate this patch so far in Korea versus Diana, which is really good at the moment. And she's a lot better than you think in certain games if you're kind of using her as a counter. Jayce is for top lane and for mid lane. Now, he's slowly winning more and more since the preseason patch hit. So last patch he was pretty good. In this patch he's a lot better as well. The reason I want to talk about him more actually than everything else is because there are two very different playstyles right now that you can actually play him with. So one is the normal one. You take Electrocute, you burst people really hard, you stack loads of lethality, and you kind of honestly play him like a poke machine, obviously, but kind of assassin as well. You jump in and you just burst people like that, just nuke them. The second one is using Aerie actually to harass and dominate your lane phase proper hard, like then buff your consistent damage in fights as well. Sure, Aerie is like decent as well if you want to nuke people down. It will add to your damage. It's nowhere near as good as Electrocute, but actually it's winning more as well, which is very strange because you think of Jayce right now and the way he normally wins is he dives in and he just nukes somebody down. Actually, if you take Aerie and you use your auto attacks a bit more, you harass in the lane phase a lot more. Because you can use Aerie more than that, you can actually get a really big lead and a lot of damage out of it. This is both for mid lane and for top lane, by the way. Both work with Aerie. Electrocute is more popular across the board and it's really good as well, so you can still use this. Like Jayce in general is really strong. But Aerie is something different, it's pretty fun, and it's a different way to actually try and play Jayce. Support is a bit weird in Korea, because there isn't just one thing that is like really, really good. There's just like, can you kill things? And if you can kill things, that is what you're gonna pick. Like mostly it's Leona, Alistar, Blitzcrank, those are the ones dominating. Obviously really good against mage supports and like AD carries, kind of feeding their AD carry gold, winning lane, and then really good at roaming after that, which is another big thing with supports in Korea at the moment. Taric is the best overall win rate wise though, and that's because he can actually like protect people, but he can frontline for example, but he can also play backline, he can heal, he can shield, he can stun, and he has his massive ultimate for team fights, which is really good mid-game, and again, we're kind of in a mid-game focused meta, right? There is a new style of carry support though, which is more mage focused, so it's kind of just sticking mages bot lane. Xerath, Lux, for example, Vel'Koz as well. We're seeing this way more, and their poke damage is actually crazy. They can top damage charts as well, while setting the enemy AD really far behind. It's really hard to farm when you're getting poked like constantly. Now, they don't have the best overall win rates at the moment because Korea is very aggressive, and if a Leona flashes on a Xerath, obviously Xerath is going to die. But like over in the West, where we have more Sona, we have Lulu, Janna, and stuff like that, Poe champions are actually going to be a lot better. So this is one where it's probably better here than it is over there. Assassin Jarvan is actually the new Lee Sin, pretty much. You know how popular Lee Sin is, and he's really fun and everybody plays him? Well, Jarvan is pretty much that at the moment. He is so good. The best you can play at the moment, I think. It's also Assassin Jarvan, though. It's like working more than just Bruiser, how they normally play it. Duskblade is way more popular than it ever was before already. Like, they will play basically bruisery kind of tank Jarvan. Now they're going full kill mode, though. Electrocute, Warrior, Duskblade, Cleaver, Guardian Angel. Right now, actually, fun fact, in 7.23, if Jarvan completes his Guardian Angel, right, he wins close to 70% of games from there. Now, obviously, that's third and fourth item. It's kind of like they're winning the game already, but still, that is insanely high of a win rate just from one item. There is no other meta carry jungler right now that can stand up to his burst damage and actually consistently wins against Jarvan. So he's an insane pickup right now for just the meta anyway. All these other assassin junglers as well that you hate playing against, Kha'Zix and Rengar and stuff like that, they hate playing versus Jarvan. So like you can kind of teach them a bit of their own medicine and just use Jarvan against them. That is going to wrap up the stalking that I have done of career so far, and some different things that you can really try, have some fun with. I tried to pick stuff that isn't just obviously very, very overpowered, like obviously Misfortune and like Ezreal and stuff like that. They are really, really good. Zed Twisted Fate as well. But like, you already know that. So let's just look at some other stuff that's pretty fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video though. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, turn the notifications on and everything like that. But for now, I'll leave you with the robots.